Hey, what do you do? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're just having a great day. So anytime I go out of town, it always takes me like probably, I'd say 3 or 4 days to get back in the swing of things, get my schedule going again, get work started up, figure out which projects I want to be working on. And I think I have it pretty much nailed down. So we started working on the cat grader in the last video, which I'm super excited for that. We got a bunch of stuff ordered for it. Should be coming in the next couple of days, but until it gets here, I can't really do anything else on that. So what we're gonna be working on today is the old John Deere 2020. I'm going to be upgrading the lights for it. I do have to fabricate another light mount because it's missing one and I can't find any online. So we're gonna be pulling the John Deere 2020 in here. We're gonna be working on that. I do have to wrap up everything from when we actually went and moved the cattle around. I gotta clean out the stock trailer. There's some hay up there, get this all disconnected. And as always, there may be something else that makes its way into this video, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and jump on into it and let's roll.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree, there's
When you
room
first
where
open
I
up the
stand.
box, got a bunch of packaging.
I've been
So for now, we're gonna go ahead and run these
running
wires
from
how they're supposed to be ran. Try and tuck them up, get them as nice and out of the way as we can. We're gonna go ahead and do the official, very first test run with the lights. So the only thing that the old John Deere is missing now is a cup holder. That's next up on the list. All right, well, first up on the list, gotta get this thing cleaned out real quick. And this poor old door, she in rough shape. But you know what? It made the trip. She did a good job. I'm not gonna complain. But we do have a bunch of water left in here still, which I'm gonna need both hands for that. So fun fact, this is where the original pit bike track used to be. Now it's just a nice little flat spot of dirt, which we're hoping to, if everything goes correctly, plant it as soon as it starts to cool down a little bit. I think like early fall is when you're supposed to plant whatever forage mix or whatever you want to plant. And we're gonna plant this area for our dairy cows that kind of hang out in that area. So when we're milking them, we'll be able just to bring them out here, let them free range. We're gonna fence off this whole area. And I'm hoping I get time within the next couple months to actually do that. But for now, we're just gonna go ahead and sweep out all this nasty into the dirt because eventually it'll break down and be good soil, I guess, something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this sweeped out. And also, I'm not sure how that happened. That rubber mat used to be right there over that wood. The cattle never cease to amaze me. This piece that I was all confused about, I'm even more confused about it now. The piece that was right there slid underneath that piece, which was on top. So I have no idea how that happens, but regardless, we got it all cleaned out. Front's looking a lot better too. I'll probably bring a leaf blower in here before we take it on our next trip, get it like nice and clean, but as far as storing it goes, we're good. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing parked. And we'll get the 2020 pulled into the shop. So our trip into town ended up going a little bit longer than anticipated. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So again, kind of a late start. But that's not gonna stop me from getting everything that I want done accomplished. It just may end up being a late night in the shop. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and get the old John Deere fired up. We're gonna take it into the shop. Let's see, I doubt it. Yep, so I do have a solenoid that I ordered from Amazon this morning. And it says it's gonna be here in about 2 hours. So that 1-day delivery stuff's bonkers. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and jump it again. And then once we get it into the shop, we are going to be replacing this light, that light, with some ridiculously big lights. And I'm gonna try and build something similar to go back here so we can have another light right here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the lights that we're gonna be using on this thing. They are made by AUXBEAM. You guys can see this one's been sitting in the shop for quite some time. It's a little bit dirty. That one obviously got set face down. It's much cleaner. We have a brand new set right there. And I'm not gonna lie, I do feel kind of bad. They were nice enough to send me those lights probably 2 years ago to try and test out on the channel. and I started the project and never finished it. So today I get to clear my conscience. We actually get to install the lights. We get to see how they work. I'm hoping to actually have them done today so we can fire up the tractor tonight, run it around, and see how bright they actually are. Because right now, it just has these super old school lights, which, if I'm being honest, I think only this one works. Obviously that one does not work. There's no light in it, period. So pretty much anything is going to be a huge upgrade from what it has. Now these lights do come with like their own relay assembly, their own switches. It's a pretty nice little connector. So we're gonna be retrofitting all of that. We'll probably mount some of the stuff, I don't know, in here on the engine wall somewhere. But yeah, shouldn't be an overly complicated project. The first thing that's gonna take the most time is actually mounting them and retrofitting them. I'm trying to figure out some way to mount it on that back fender right there. And I cannot wait till the parts for the carburetor come in for this thing because I need my little rolly table back. But I'm not gonna touch any of that right now because if I move one thing out of place, it's gonna throw off the whole groove on everything. So we're gonna leave that be for now. I'm gonna bring out other tools to work with, and I gotta figure out something to set stuff on right here. Not sure what I'm gonna do. I may roll this stack of tires over, set a piece of plywood on it. Let me figure that out real quick. I think we may have found our winner. Come on, Gene. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and use this old keep right sign from my old construction days. Motorcycle tube. Oh, beautiful. All right, well, first up on the list, we're gonna go ahead and take this guy off to kind of see what's going on in there. You guys can see we got one little wire that goes through this channel right there. I'm not sure that we're gonna be able to fit the new wires in there, but we'll see. Anyhow, let's get this taken off. And I'm guessing 7/8 on this one. Nope. Let's go 3/4. Money. Nope. Come on. Oh, jeez. Man, that's a tough one. Oh, look at this. They actually tied a knot in this wire so that it wouldn't back out. All right, well, I think we're going full custom. I've been looking at this old mount. We got the old light off, trying to figure out how we will mount this light to that little round deal, and I just don't see it happening. So we're gonna have to go ahead and fabricate our own mounts all the way around. They'll be a little bit more hefty, a little bit more substantial. We may try and utilize the old bolt holes that hold these brackets on, or we may just end up welding it. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of in the mood to weld it, so we'll see how this goes. But regardless, these are all coming off, and we're not gonna reuse any of them. So I didn't make it too far before I needed my little fabrication table. It's just simply too good. And I need to make some cuts with it. And having to clamp this to a fixed surface just wasn't gonna quite work out with that thing. So I went ahead and cleared everything off, stuck it on the back end of the grader. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and get these things cut. They are basically gonna run about that long, and then we'll put a 90-degree bend on it. And then we're gonna have to trim each side, kind of contoured a little bit to fit the fender. That's what I have in my head, more or less. We'll see if it actually works. They may need to be longer, which at that point I'll probably have to find another piece of metal. But I'm thinking this is gonna work. We may just do one, because if one doesn't work, then we can switch up how long they are and actually cut them this way. So I guess we'll just experiment with one and see if we can make it happen. got our first piece cut. I went ahead and dunked it in some water, cool it down a little bit. Still a little bit hot to the touch. So basically what we're gonna do is I think we're probably gonna come out to about here or so and then bend it down straight 90 and we'll see how close that actually gets. So let me go ahead and put my finger on it right there. All right, so here we got piece number 1 in the clamp. We're gonna go ahead and start bending it. I say clamp, it's a vise. That's looking pretty close to 90. All right, so there's gonna be a little bit of filling required. It's not cut perfectly. You guys can see that there is, where is it on this one? This guy, oh yeah. So it's not gonna be like 100% exactly perfect. There is gonna be a little bit of filling that goes on with this. You guys can see we do have an angled cut right here to try and help with this curvature right here. It does an okay job. If we put it flat right there, you guys can see we have a little bit of a space right there. Not a huge deal. I think I'm gonna go ahead and fill it. I may tinker with this just a little bit more to try and get it to fit just a little bit better. But I think for the most part, it's gonna be okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get that welded in place. And then if this one fits correctly and the light fits on there nice and the wires are able to go through here, we're pretty much just gonna imitate this exact piece all the way around. Guys, this is looking a little bit on the ridiculous side, but I love it. So I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. I think that's gonna be a nice fit. I think that wire is gonna be able to tuck down back into that hole very nicely. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and make 3 more. And we are gonna have to like make minor adjustments on all of them because obviously this one's gonna be the opposite angle. And I think the front ones are like at even more of a weird taper. So, I don't know. None of this is gonna be super perfect, but it's gonna be way better than it was. So I guess it's safe to say that that little piece is gonna work, so we can go ahead and cut these 3 other pieces without having to worry about having enough material. Alright, so the rear 2 tabs are welded in place. I'm really liking how this is starting to turn out. I kind of like how they're tilted in a little bit on both sides. I think it's going to look really cool once the lights are actually mounted on there. And the fact that they're not going to be like perfectly straight and that they'll be a little bit offset, I think it's just going to flow pretty well with how these goofy looking fenders are shaped. This one turned out pretty good. That weld's not awful. Got a little bit sloppy right there, but it's going to be okay. It's going to get painted green eventually anyways. So I think the front side of the fender is just slightly different. I think the angles are just not quite the same as they are back there. I don't know that it's enough to worry about, so I'm just gonna go ahead and imitate that back piece on this front piece up here. And then if I don't like it, I know that I have enough material out of this stuff, I can go ahead and cut another flange. But if it is okay, there's no point in overcomplicating stuff. So let's go ahead and get this one bent, see how it mocks up. And then if I like it, we'll just do it on the other side too. So there's a couple different mounting options with these lights. You guys can see we have a larger slot drilled out in the center, 2 smaller ones on the side. So you guys could either use 2 of these smaller carriage bolts. I'm gonna go ahead and opt for the larger one in the center. We're not gonna be getting crazy on this thing. I think 1 bolt's gonna do just fine. It does give you a little rubber isolation pad, so we'll use that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the holes drilled out for these, and then we'll go ahead and get them fastened down. We'll kind of get them pointed where I think they should go. So typically wiring these up are super easy. They send you out a harness that has everything that I'll be showing you guys in a little bit. But the problem is they're designed to be like 4 to 5 feet apart from each other, which this is not 4 to 5 feet, but the wire has to run down through that side of the fender, come across, make its way up to this side of the fender. And at that point, I think it's like 6 or 7 feet. So the wiring harness was definitely not designed for this application, but it's gonna work. I'll just have to extend the wires a little bit because I don't wanna be hokey about it. Because technically, I could do 1 switch to power the right-hand side of the machine because these are gonna be super close to each other, and 1 switch to do the left-hand side of the machine. That would be pretty lame to have the lights set up like that. There's no point in having 1 switch that turns on front and rear facing lights. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it correct. I'm gonna do it how I want it. It may take a little bit longer, but I think it's gonna be worth it. So let me go ahead and get these holes drilled out so we can get the lights mounted. And then from there, we'll go ahead and start extending the wiring harness a little bit. All right, so I've got the rear 2 bolted in place. They're not like cranked down yet because I won't do the final adjustment until we actually have them turned on. It's dark outside. We kind of point where we actually want them. So I've not drilled the holes for the front lights yet. We're gonna go ahead and hold off on those for just a second because I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when you first open up the box. Got a bunch of packaging. They send you with a pretty cool little sticker. These are instructions. Then you have the wiring harness, the mounting hardware, all nicely packaged in the center. They give you some different color bezels, which I'll talk about those in just a second. I want to get your guys' opinion if we should do the red, the orange, or what's on here. I think I have the orange. There's a blue bezel too, so just curious which one you guys think looks best. Go ahead and drop it down in the comments below. They're super easy to switch out. I'll probably go ahead and stick with orange for now since that's what is on the rear facing lights. So let's go ahead and pull these ones out of the box. They come nicely wrapped. Or I guess one of the other options is we could just completely take off the bezel in its entirety and just have a black light. I don't know, let me know what you think. I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards blue too. I don't know. I wish they'd send a green one. Let me go ahead and get these 2 mounted in place and then we'll start running the wires, which really is not that complicated. It's a pretty basic system. They've got everything all set up for you already. Has the relays. You got your little switch somewhere. It's down there. Not 100% sure if I want to drill holes in this yet. I may put like a little plate right here and then put the 2 switches right there. I'm not sure yet. I don't know that I super feel like sacrificing this tractor because at one point we may like put it back to all original, and that really won't be that hard to remove these and restore the original lights. I just would have to grind that off and smooth it out and repaint it. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but on the slim chance that it does, I don't want to go ahead and start like drilling holes everywhere on this thing. All right, so we're starting to wind down as far as the lights go. I went ahead and ran the first section of the wiring harness down through that area right there. We're gonna go ahead and open up the other wiring harness, the one that was in the box, brand new, not messed with. We'll go ahead and show you guys exactly what comes in the harness. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. You got your positive and your negative right here. You have your relay, and then you guys can see we got 2 separate wires coming down, and that's because one of them goes to a switch, which will activate the relay. And then we have the 2 pigtails that go to each light. We got this one right here and that one right there. And as you can see, we don't have a whole lot of separation between the 2. Definitely not enough to come all the way down and go all the way back up. We do have probably like an 18-inch tail on the light, so we're really not gonna have to extend them that much, but we are gonna have to extend them just a little bit. So it's not gonna be the end of the world. It's not super complicated. We'll just go color for color and add probably 2 or 3 feet to each one. And then we'll just zip tie up the extra that we have left over. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to feed this one through as well. And with how small these are, I'm actually thinking I'm just gonna go ahead and drill 2 holes right there. I went ahead and removed the shifter cover so that we could run these 2 wires basically through here, and then we'll kick them out the back side. Then you guys can see where you're actually supposed to run the wires that go over to that side, and then there's another keeper on that side that you can't really see. As long as I can remember, this tractor has never had the shift boot covers, so I did order some new ones of those, and as soon as they come in, we're going to be doing a complete service on the transmission. We're going to drain all the fluid, refill it with brand new fluid, because technically water can get in through here, and like I said, since I've known this machine, it's never had them. So who knows if it got left out in the rain, who knows how much water's in there. Definitely when you guys pop those fittings or whatever they are, it is a little bit milky. So I'm pretty sure there's just a little bit of water in there. So we're gonna try and remedy that, but that's gonna be a different video. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and run these wires how they're supposed to be ran, try and tuck them up, get them as nice and out of the way as we can so that we don't fight them later on in the future. We're gonna try and keep them away from the squirrels as best we can. So let's go ahead and kick those out back. So I know earlier that I said I was gonna do the front lights on a circuit and the rear lights on a circuit, but as I was looking online, they sell a 10-foot extension, which is gonna be more than enough to go from one side to the other. And instead of hacking up their wiring harness, because it is really a pretty good wiring harness, it's got nice shrink wrap on it, I don't wanna hack that up. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it as is, and just for the video's sake for today, we're gonna do the left side on a circuit and the right side on a circuit. And then once these extensions come in, we'll go ahead and swap it around, make it how I want it, and I won't have to worry about the wiring harness being super janky. So we're gonna go ahead and put these away. I don't think I'm gonna need those for the video. Really not a whole lot left to do. You guys can see we're looking pretty clean underneath this plate. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other wire ran around to that side. Then we're basically just gonna plug the lights in. And then throughout the week, I'll be thinking of something that we can go ahead and connect to the side of this fender right here to hold this cable in place so that it doesn't wanna break loose, rub against the tire, get caught, snagged, rip out, ruin the light. You guys get the point. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish running those wires, and then we'll start focusing up here and getting everything all connected. All right, well, it's time for the final touches. As far as inside the battery bank goes, all we need to do is hook up the negatives and the positives. You guys can see we got both the light switches right here. They're pretty tucked out of the way. It doesn't look too hokey. Almost looks somewhat factory. All right, so everything's all wired up. There's definitely room for improvement here still. As soon as I get those 10-foot extensions, then we'll go ahead and dress up this back end 100%. But for now, we are good to test. We're gonna go ahead and do the official, very first test run with the lights. You guys can see we got it all wired up in there. It's like mediocre as far as wiring jobs go. It's gonna be okay. It could be a little bit cleaner, but let's go ahead. I'm gonna guess this one's the right side. Oh, I was wrong. It's the left side. But dang, those things are bright. And let's go ahead and position these things a little bit. I think this one is a little bit high. We're gonna go ahead and point that one down. So as far as this light goes, obviously needs to come down a little bit. I'm thinking over to the right a smidge. I think that's pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and check out this guy. Oof, man, those hurt. I think that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty lined up with the other one. Also, this guy, let's see, come down over, I think that's good. So I think we're pretty much done with the John Deere for today. I'm kind of bummed out. The starter solenoid that was supposed to show up has not, but they did say that it has till 10 p.m. to deliver. I do not understand how Amazon Prime one-day delivery works. That just like blows my mind. I don't know how they make any money off of that, but regardless, we have all the lights like cranked down. All the nuts and bolts are pretty tight. These things are not gonna be moving back and forth. So we're pretty much done with the John Deere for today, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it back up. We're gonna take it out. We're gonna wait for that sun to go down. Maybe I'll go watch the sunset or something like that. We do need to go tend to our little Jersey that we brought back. Her bandage has fallen down, so we gotta go redress that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing started up. I highly doubt it starts. Yeah. So the only thing that the old John Deere is missing now is a cup holder. That's next up on the list. There's so many times where I'm just like out mowing the field, just sweating my brains out, and I just wish I had a cup holder. All right, well the sun hasn't gone all the way down, but I think it's dark enough to go ahead and test out these lights because I gotta go home and I got some other stuff I gotta do. So we're gonna go ahead and flip the camera around. We're gonna turn the lights on. We're gonna see how they look. Holy smokes, guys. And as you guys can tell looking behind me, we got it lit up like day back there. So these auxiliary beam lights, I think they work pretty good. I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with them. Not a whole lot of room to complain. I like the blue afterglow, and they might even be too bright, if that's a thing. Let's go ahead and get this thing turned back around. We'll run down to the shop, and that's probably gonna be it. I'll probably wrap things up once we get down there. All right, guys, well, I'm pretty pleased right now. These lights were just incredible. They were so bright. I remember when I had just the one halogen on there that was like kind of pointed to the ground. It was pretty sad. These are a huge upgrade. Even though they might look kind of goofy on this thing, they're definitely way more modern than the old John Deere 2020 is, but they light that road up just fine. I'll be even happier once we get the 10-foot extensions. And this one does the front and that one does the rear. So I was trying to look them up online so I could tell you guys how much they cost, and I don't think they make these exact lights anymore. Now keep in mind that it has been like 2 or 3 years since I received these, so it's been a while, but they do make some other pretty cool lights. These ones are looking pretty rad. I'll go ahead and drop a link down below if you guys want to check out. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but I think it's AUXBEAM. I've been saying auxiliary beam. I don't know, but bang for buck, they're pretty good. These lights are super bright, and for the entire kit with all the wiring, it comes in at 200 bucks. So I'll probably order another one of these kits for the Ranger. I don't think it'll be the individual lights, but we're gonna probably do like a curved light bar because occasionally we have to go way back there to help work with the cattle. We'll have one get hurt, or we've even had some cows actually calve back there. We've had to help bring the calves all the way back in. So it's never easy when you have awful lighting. But I think I need to go ahead and wrap things up because I need to go home and have dinner. It's kind of late. Oh, and a quick side note, I also just got an email saying that the parts have shipped for the grader. So super exciting. They'll be here soon. But thank you guys for watching. If you could do me a huge solid like, subscribe, share this video, amigos, hit that notification button down below so you guys can continue to see progress on this, the grader, whatever implement we have in here. Gonna be working on the milling machine here pretty soon. The projects just never end. But thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Later.